Israel and Iran breaking news today. War between Israel and Gaza. Qatar reassessing ceasefire negotiations role. Qatar's prime minister said it's rethinking its mediation position between Israel and Hamas. Qatar, together with Egypt and America, has helped negotiate a ceasefire and hostage release between Israel and Hamas. However, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani claimed that Doha was being manipulated and degraded for political gain. The peace discussions are in a sensitive phase, he added. Qatar's ties to all sides, including Hamas, are important to a truce, despite sensitive and mostly fruitless attempts. Over the weekend, Hamas openly rejected a 6-week truce offer from mediators to release 40 women, children, and elderly or ailing prisoners. Qatar now doubts that negotiations will succeed and is reassessing its mediation role. Qatar's Sheikh Mohammed warned politicians seeking points were undermining its efforts. At a Doha news conference, he added, "Unfortunately, we have seen that there has been an exploitation of this mediation and an abuse of this mediation in service of narrow political goals. Qatar has requested a thorough examination of this job. Now is the time to analyze mediation and how the parties participate." He did not name anyone, but some U.S. congressmen have criticized Qatar for not pressuring Hamas to make concessions. The U.S. called the Palestinian armed organization the impediment to a ceasefire after it officially rejected the latest ceasefire offer over the weekend. The Qatari prime warned against the extension of the Gaza war as tensions build between Israel and Iran and urged the international community to stop it. "I'm in pieces," Israeli hostages pain over Hamas-held husband. Bowen, Israel denies Gaza starvation, but proof is clear. The Israeli military reported 14 troops hurt, 6 badly, by Lebanese anti-tank rockets and drones that hit a northern Israeli hamlet. Hezbollah, backed by Iran, said it struck on a military target in Arab al-Ramsh in revenge for Israeli attacks that killed commanders and fighters. Hezbollah, which like Hamas is a terrorist organization, has been fighting Israeli forces practically daily along the border since the Gaza war began. On October 7, Hamas terrorists launched an unprecedented onslaught on southern Israel, murdering 1,200 civilians and carrying 253 hostages to Gaza. The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza reports that Israel's offensive effort to destroy Hamas and liberate the captives has killed over 33,800 people, mostly women and children. A week-long ceasefire in November liberated 105 hostages, mostly women and children, in exchange for 240 Palestinian inmates in Israeli jails. More than 30 of the 133 hostages in Gaza, including 4 captured before the war, are dead, according to Israeli officials. Hamas stated on Saturday that it was ready to negotiate a real and true captive exchange with Israel but rejected the present offer. It also reiterated its demand for a durable ceasefire that would allow Israeli troops to leave Gaza and displaced Palestinians to return home. On Sunday, Israel's Mossad intelligence agency, whose director leads the Israeli negotiating team, said Hamas's Gaza leader, Yahya Sinwar, does not want a humanitarian deal and the return of the hostages, is continuing to exploit the tension with Iran and is striving to unite the sectors and achieve a general escalation in the region. On Monday, U.S. Department of State spokesman Matthew Miller said, "The bottom line is Hamas ought to take that bargain and explain to the world and Palestinian people why they aren't." Last week, a senior Israeli source told U.S. media that Hamas had informed mediators that it did not have 40 living prisoners who met one of the requirements in the latest ceasefire proposal: children, women, including soldiers, men over 50, and those with serious medical issues. A top Hamas official said a truce would give enough time and safety to find all the hostages. The international community must take its obligations and stop this war to protect Gazan residents from siege and malnutrition and weapon for political blackmail, according to Sheikh Mohammed. Last month, the UN warned that 1.1 million people, half the population, were risking famine in northern Gaza. According to the UN, Israeli humanitarian restrictions, hostility, and disorder are to blame. On Wednesday, Netanyahu's office said he rejected the accusations of international groups claiming starvation in Gaza and that Israel was going above and above in the humanitarian field. On Wednesday, 8 UN World Food Programme lorries brought flour from Ashdod container port to Gaza via the Israeli-controlled Kerem Shalom Gate, according to the Israeli military. Last week, Israel opened a new connection with northern Gaza to accommodate U.S. President Joe Biden's demands after an Israeli air attack in Gaza on April 1 killed 7 World Central Kitchen relief workers. In the 12 days following my chat with Prime Minister Netanyahu, 3,000 trucks with food and supplies moved into Gaza, a daily increase of over 50% from the week prior, Biden said on X, formerly Twitter, on Wednesday. UNRWA, the largest humanitarian organization in Gaza, reported on Tuesday that there has been no major shift in the volume of humanitarian goods entering Gaza or increased access to the north. UNRWA reported that 185 vehicles entered Gaza every day via Kerem Shalom and the Egyptian-controlled Rafah Gate between April 5, the day after Mr. Biden talked to Mr. Netanyahu, and April 15, the latest known date. The data shows a daily average of 168 from March 29 to April 4. Even while aid delivery coordination with Israel has improved, a senior UN humanitarian official warned on Tuesday that famine prevention was remained difficult. The task goes beyond bringing in flour and preparing bread. Very complicated, Adriano de Domenico said. Famine prevention requires water, sanitation, and health. The Palestinian side of Kerem Shalom was waiting to collect 700 lorry loads of aid from Kogad, the Israeli Defense Ministry department that coordinates Gaza humanitarian delivery. Our capacities grew. The UN only made excuses, it said. On Wednesday, the Israeli military stated its troops and aircraft had eliminated a number of terrorists and destroyed terrorist infrastructure in Gaza's center. On Tuesday, a bombing in Nuseirat refugee camp killed 11 members of the al-Nouri family. Palestinian media reported intensive bombardment and fighting. Israeli forces also raided Beit Hanoun to catch terrorists hiding in schools in the north. It said Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad operatives were captured and combatants killed. The UN reported 4 deaths on Tuesday when a Beit Hanoun house was attacked and damaged. A Jabalia resident told BBC Arabic's Gaza Lifeline radio service, Israeli occupation soldiers surrounded the area and arrested young men, women, and children, shocking us. The forces evicted us, slaughtered Beit Hanoun residents, and detained those in refuge schools. This has made our existence unbearable. Tanks shell us everywhere we go.